some of my least streamed records are the ones that I get the most messages about. And in today's ideology, they would never get released. So like, you know, if it gets 100,000 streams versus something that gets 10 million, yeah, cool, 10 million, you're making more money, all that, but you still connected with 100,000 people and like possibly helped them through some of the darkest times in their life or made an impact. So that means way more than me than just like chasing viral moments every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you like to go by Matthew, or do you prefer your
No,
stage
everybody calls me 12.
name? I was going to ask that too. Like,
Yeah.
do you go by 12 a.m. or just 12?
Yeah, most people just call me 12. Like my artist name's 12 a.m., but everybody who knows me
Calls you
like,
12.
Yeah, it's just 12.
Where did the name 12 a.m. even come from?
So when I was in university, I was making music, and I record myself and mix myself, and there was a little reverb plug-in, and the preset was called the Midnight Plate, and I put it on, and my voice just sounded like hella cool. So I was like, and I googled it. I was like, it's 12 a.m. and there was like no artist named 12 a.m. and I was like, shotgun, like that's easy choice.
Do you ever play around with midnight?
Yeah, but it's just like something about 12 a.m. just like sounded better than midnight.
Okay.
Just for like the type of music, but I mean, people call me Midnight, like a little nickname, so
Okay.
works too.
But the people closest to you, the ones in your circle, what do they call you?
12.
12.
12?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to call you 12 because we want to be in your inner circle. Is that cool?
I love that. Yeah.
Well, 12, welcome to the Gents Talk Pod. How are you?
Dude, good. Thanks for having me. This is dope.
No, we're glad you're here. You're doing a lot of cool stuff, and we just want to talk about it.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
But for those who may be familiar with your music but don't know sort of the backstory, you were born and now you're here, but what's happened in between?
So I was definitely born. I was definitely born, but I was born in Canada. I was born in Toronto, moved to Ottawa, then moved back to Toronto, and then went to university, and then moved from Toronto to America, LA, and then I lived there for 6 years, and now I spent a year back in Toronto. So that's kind of like the whole trip that I did for my life. But I really missed Canada when I lived in LA, so it's nice to be back around like friends and family and stuff.
So are you now based out of Toronto, or?
So yeah, right now I'm in Toronto, but I'm probably gonna be headed back soon to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I'll probably just be back and forth more, because during the time in LA, it was COVID, right? So like, it was hard to get back to Toronto, and there was all these like I was scared to come back because I'd have to spend like a week in a hotel or something. You know what I mean?
I
Like
remember that.
they made that shit sound scary, dude. They're like, stay in this hotel and pay like $4,000. And I was like,
And there's no
Nuts.
food.
No.
It was,
Yeah.
No, there was food. I did it. There was food.
Was
Really?
there?
I did the hotel stay.
But I saw a whole bunch of people
what
post,
was that like actually? Because I was mind blown about that whole
It
thing.
was. I didn't have to pay for the hotel,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
so it was all right. But like, the whole time I was thinking, if I had to pay, it's ridiculous, because it's just you're there and they give you like a meal every few hours. They give you 3 meals. We were in a hotel closest. We were actually attached to a restaurant, so it's easy for them to bring the food up. But it's weird, and like you can only go outside during certain times, because remember everything was weird around that time, right?
Yeah.
So,
But the crazy part, like I don't even. It's like whatever with that, but to pay like the crazy price
yes,
was wild. Like the hotels don't cost that much.
No,
so
it was like 4 times the price.
yeah. So I was like,
somehow they're
where's
marking
that?
it up.
Yeah. Like that was like a little bag they were getting real quick. Like,
yeah.
but that's wild. I can't. Yeah, I don't know actually anybody that did that.
But okay, so how did you get into music?
I kind of just always was making music. I remember the first time I like heard music. I just wanted to do that, and then I got the Marshall Mathers LP as a kid, and it just like blew my mind. I didn't know what he was saying too. Like looking back on that, I was like 7. I was like, this dude's saying the most ridiculous shit. I didn't understand any of it, but I just like wanted to be him. And then
There's a lot of people that wanted to be Marshall.
Yeah, it was just it was so crazy. Had the influence that like that whole lifestyle and genre had on me, other than like him talking about all the shit he was talking about, like killing people and like all that stuff. Like it was just the presence of just it was just incredible. So ever since then, I was just like always writing. I wanted to be a rapper at the time, and so I was always like writing bars and freestyling over YouTube beats, like, or instrumentals, and like literally in like grade 1, like I was just writing raps that had nothing to do with my life, but it was just like based off of what I was listening to, because there was a lot of like that 50 Cent G Unit era, and like Bone Thugs and Harmony and all that was like my favorite stuff. So then longer and longer I was doing it, I was like, I don't really know if I want to be like just a rapper. Like that's kind of crazy. So I wanted to learn how to sing, because I grew up with my mom too. Like she was super into Motown, so I listened to a lot of like Jackson 5, Stevie Wonder, like Otis Redding, and I just loved singing, but I just sucked at it. So I weirdly enough taught myself how to sing through autotune. So I downloaded autotune, and it kind of taught me how to sing. So then I just started singing, and that's kind of how it started.
That's pretty cool. I've never heard of someone teach themselves through autotune.
You can learn how to sing.
Really?
Because you can hear what your voice sounds like on pitch.
Right.
So.
And now you just want to try and essentially replicate it.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, it's funny. I never heard of anyone doing it, but then I saw an interview with Charlie Puth, and he said the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was
it's
like,
more common than people think.
Probably more common. Yeah. It's just one of those things, like when you sing on your iPhone, you're like, oh my God, I sound terrible. But if you hear your voice on pitch, and then you try to replicate that, it's easier to learn how to be on pitch, because it's your voice rather than like somebody else's.
So can someone who's not a naturally talented singer teach themselves how to sing to the point where they can get by? Or
yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
So there's hope for me.
There's hope for you, man. Just I'll bring you into the studio.
Okay.
Start tracking you. You're gonna sound like Adele.
Oh, perfect.
That's how crazy it gets.
So okay, so you're into music and you're doing all these things. But you also recently, you put out a post, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I was looking through your IG, and you talked about how you almost quit music.
Yeah.
What's this relationship with music that you have where you felt you needed to maybe take a step back?
It definitely just like the times changing type thing, and it just became so much not about music. So I was just like, when I was a kid, my dream was to be an artist and to make incredible music and to perform and to do music videos and photo shoots and all this. And then like longer and longer with all these apps like TikTok and algorithm changes and YouTube shorts, and everything's getting shorter and shorter and less production value, which is sometimes a great thing, but it took away the art of like being a musician, and it replaced it with being a content creator. And I've never wanted to be a content creator. I've never like woke up and be like, damn, I want to like do a vlog, you know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to the people that do it, but that's just not what I wanted to do. So it got to the point where I was in studio sessions, like thinking of records that would work on TikTok and all that, and I just got drained. I was like, I don't even like being here anymore. I don't want to be in the studio like making these songs. So I was like, maybe it's not for me. And then just recently I've been feeling like a lot better, and I don't really put the pressure on like doing something just because it's like the norm. Like you got a lot, as an artist, you have a lot of pressure. There's so many artists right now that are in labels and stuff, and their labels are like, the song has to blow up on TikTok or it can't get released. Like that's such a crazy concept.
The labels are the ones that are saying that.
Yeah, 100%. So what will happen is like a lot of these artists, like they can't release records until it goes viral on TikTok. Like, okay, that's a lottery ticket. Like you have just as good as a chance to go win the lottery.
Yeah.
So these artists that came into the game probably in love with music, or like they can't release music until it blows up before the song's even out. Like that's never been a thing before. So, it was just like, the thought of releasing a song is the most draining thing, right? But luckily I just said, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. And if that's not who I am and I don't care about going viral, I want to put out music. Some of my biggest records are the ones that have, or some of my most loved records by my fans, who are the only things that actually matter. Like, I don't make music for anyone but myself and the people who like genuinely love it. Some of my least streamed records are the ones that I get the most messages about. And in today's ideology, they would never get released. So like, you know, if it gets 100,000 streams versus something that gets 10 million, yeah, cool, 10 million, you're making more money, all that, but you still connected with 100,000 people and like possibly helped them through some of the darkest times in their life or made an impact. So that means way more than me than just like chasing viral moments every single day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't realize that was now a thing. Like, it just seems so unfortunate that they're imposing, like, because I imagine you're gonna narrow down what would be what's an average song now, like 2 minutes.
And that's
3
even
minutes?
that. Yeah, it's 2 minutes now. It's getting shorter every year.
Yeah.
We're gonna see albums.
TikTok, you're gonna shorten it further. It's just gonna be TikTok.
Yeah, it's gonna be 15-second songs, man. Like, it's crazy. But you know, that's not every single label. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
of course. But the fact that it exists is a reason to be concerned.
Exactly, and it's just. But that's with every kind of industry too. It's just such a different time and everybody's got to adapt. And obviously it's a life-changing app. So many of my close friends have had their lives changed through it. So it definitely benefits and it's a good app to use, but like it burns you out, you know what I mean? So there's got to be a balance, I think.
So how did you deal with, like, you said that you were thinking about quitting. Did you actually take time away?
Yeah, it took a long time. Like, I took basically like a year.
Okay.
A year, and I just didn't post on Instagram, and I just really wanted to see like what I wanted to do in life, and then something just clicked where I was like, I've done so well. And ironically, so what just happened was I just released a song, and I didn't post on TikTok about it. I didn't do this big lead up. I didn't do this whole game plan. I just made a song that really meant a lot to me, and it was a ballad, and I posted it, and then a week later this massive TikTok person posts it, and I'm like, okay, what? This is insane. But it just shows you that like there's still music is still the main reason why people listen to music. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds crazy to say, but like people love music still. Yeah. It's just the way they consume it, the way they hear about it is through these apps. So if you truly love music, truly love doing it, and you're talented and you're good and you're passionate about it, it's still like you can still do very well without having to like grind every single day, 5 hours a day on an app just to like try to blow your stuff up, you know what I mean? So and then that's just how I felt the year before. Like I didn't want to be on the app, and I felt like that was the only way to be an artist these days. And then I just said, you know what, no, that's not the case. And ironically it happened quick, where it was just like it's now like one of my most popular songs, and it's like been like now a week and a half. So
congrats on it.
Thank you, man. But it's just like, it just means a lot, because it was like, I didn't make that song for TikTok. You know what I mean? It's a ballad, but it's
which is almost more rewarding because you made it for the reasons that matter to you, and the TikTok piece was just a result of that.
Exactly. And then it made me so happy, because I was like, look, like fire, like something that isn't like specifically designed, like manufactured for like an app to blow up. Like this was just like a song that I loved. And while I was taking a break from my own artist stuff and social media, I was doing a lot of songwriting for other artists. So that was really good too, because I was still in love with the process of making music, and it ironically was amazing. Me and this artist in Canada, Elijah Woods, we basically wrote an entire album together, and the songs have been crushing. It's just been incredible to see for him. And so I was also like getting way better at songwriting during that like break, you know what I mean? So now that I'm back releasing, and I feel like I've leveled up my actual songwriting ability, which I'm super proud of. And the music I'm making now is like a lot more personal and deep and vulnerable and just more real. And I actually love it more than I used to. So
why?
It's just,
why does that matter to you so much?
that it's like personal. Well, I have fun records too that like don't mean.
Well, there's a lot of artists that shy away from that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I just think like if you, my favorite artists are the realist artists. So that's why it means a lot, because I grew up listening to people that would say things that you're like, oh my God, like Eminem, or like one of my favorites is Juice. You know what I mean? Like he was talking about everything that people don't talk about, and like he became one of the biggest. And like people like Posty and all these people that like show their emotions, like that's real to me. So that's why I like making that type of music. But don't get me wrong, like I have a bunch of records that are coming out that are just fun. Like you don't got to think too much about it. You go party,
nice,
like yeah, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to make everybody sad every day, but there's happy, there's sad, all that stuff. But that's why it means, because I just grew up listening to that.
And how do you I guess balance the artist and the person behind the artist?
Man, it's funny you said that, because I'm just learning how to do that now. Because for 6 years in LA, it was just me as an artist. It was like I didn't even know who I was. I literally have a song coming out, and the lyric was like, I don't recognize me anymore, because I was like, I don't even know who I'm, just like this thing. Like I don't know like what I like. And just recently, the last like couple months, I've been doing just stuff for me. Like I just started boxing. Like I used to kickbox as a kid, and I'm doing all this stuff that has nothing to do with music. And it's ironically made making music more fun, but also just me happier, way happier in general, rather than just like grinding. You know what I mean? Like,
jeez. What is it that I guess kickstarted it so that you started to do those things for yourself?
Actually, I was talking to one of my close friends. He's a really dope musician, and he's the host of Apple Music radio station. He's Travis Mills, and he did this whole fitness journey where he lost a lot of weight, and he was posting on Instagram, and I just said, yo, this is incredible, man. Like I've gained weight. I'm suffering with depression. Like, do you have any tips? And he just told me like, everything you're doing right now, do the exact opposite. And I was like,
interesting.
And then I was just like, it just switched.
What were some of the things that you were doing?
Like waking up late, going to bed super late, you know what I mean? Not working out, eating bad, just a lot of things. Like my routine, like doing things during the day, and I just switched all that up. I started eating super healthy, exercising, going to bed early. That was like the biggest thing. Like I haven't gone to.
Sleep is so important.
Yeah, I went to bed at I go to bed at like 11 p.m. now. I feel like old as shit, but it's like
I feel like you have to say 12 a.m.
Yeah, I know.
I go to bed at like 12 a.m. now.
Yeah, no, it was like I was going to bed at like 3 a.m. You know what I mean? And that's just like that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was doing.
You don't want to miss out.
No,
either.
But it's been great, and obviously still like on the weekend, go hard. But like during the week, is like. I'm getting to bed early, I'm eating right, I'm drinking water. Another thing, I didn't drink water. Like, it's just, like, stupid shit I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Like, I was drinking, like, everything but water. Like, it's like, you gotta drink water. Like, but, yeah, and then once he said that, I just said, oh, all right, cool, let me try that. And then, boom, it was just, so shout out Travis Mills, man.
That's
like,
cool.
I tell him all the time, I was like, that just simple advice was just 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the coffin.
You talked about dealing with depression. Can we go there?
Yeah, of course. You could ask me anything.
Can you walk us through like how you, like what led you to that point? How you even, self-awareness is such an important thing, and a lot of people aren't self-aware enough to understand that, hey, I'm in a bad place and I need to do something about it. Maybe talk us through how you got there, how you became self-aware of it, and then maybe what was the moment that you decided, I need to get out of this?
I guess I went through so much as a kid, you know what I mean? Because my mom had cancer, and I was she had cancer for basically my whole life. She had like kidney cancer, and then she was, I forget the name, but then she got cancer again in her pancreas, and then it was like, the doctor said, oh, she has 6 months to live, but she went on a trial drug, and then it was like every month you get an update, and lasted 6 years. So like, it became where I didn't like feel depressed. I was just in survival mode. So
it's a long time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like every month it's like, is it gonna be the month?
Yeah.
No, 6 years. You know what I mean? And then it was just like survive. And then when she passed, she lived in a house that this cancer research doctor owned. So it wasn't my house. So I was like, I don't know where to go. So I just booked a flight to LA. And then grieving my mom's death, like that's like one of the hardest things you can do as a person when you lose your mom. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And like, and I didn't really feel like I had also on me, I kind of like isolated myself from other family members. And I just was like, because I'm in survival mode, I was like, okay, mom's gone, security blanket's gone, I don't got a house, I don't have a roof, I need to go get one. So then I just put everything I had into work. And then I wasn't dealing with my emotions, you know what I mean? I didn't know, I was just like, you ain't got time to be sad, you have to go get that money, and you have to go survive, and you have to put food on the table for you. So then I just drowned myself in work, and then obviously I was grieving. Obviously I was sad that my mom passed, but it wasn't like, it was like anytime I would get sad, I'd be like, yo, no, get up. And then the pandemic hit, and then because things were going amazing for my career. I was like, you know, I was in LA, I was working with people I looked up to, my idols. I was finally making money in music. I was mind blown. I was like, I can't believe this is happening to me. So everything was going good, but it was 24/7 work. So I still didn't understand what I was going through. And then pandemic hit, things started slowing down. And then I started feeling like there's nothing to do. So when I was like chilling by myself, like I was like, yo, I don't feel good. Like, cause I don't have any distractions. Yeah. So then it was like another month of the pandemic, a year or 2 years. And I was just like stuck in my head, like all the time trying to make music, but like, there's nothing to do. You can't go perform. You can't go on tour. You can't do this. So then just recently, the last year is when I was like fully burnt out. I was like, yo, there's something like off. Like and it's because I just didn't deal with those emotions I've been having my whole life. And so I was like, okay, I need help. And I heard online, like, you know, medication does wonders. And I was like, okay, let me try antidepressants. I was like, I've tried doing everything else. Like, I'm in a bad state. I want to get better. And I tried that, and that didn't work, made me gain weight, all that. And I was like,
they have a lot of bad side effects.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean like they're life changing for people. Like, I know people that swear by them, but for me, it's like, it wasn't working. You know what I mean? And that's just one. I could have tried more or whatever. And then I stopped that like quickly. 'Cause I'm pretty, what's the word where you do things quick? Decisive, but like, it's another word. Like, it's not sporadic, but like, it's like, I go things and I do cut them off quick. So like the antidepressant wasn't working, boom, stopped it. And you're not supposed to. So I did it cold turkey, and then I felt even worse. And I was like, yo, something's going on. And then I just like looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, okay, like this is, whatever you're doing right now is not working. And then it was like, everything you're doing right now, do the exact opposite. So then I just put my physical health first, my diet first, music last. So music is, I need like going back into survival mode. It was like, yo, I need to survive right now, and it's not about music.
Yeah.
And then that was the thing that made me like into where I feel like right now, where I've never felt emotionally and mentally better in my life, because I realized that yes, I have, you know, depression, anxiety, but I need to like tackle them head on before I can work. And then ever since I done that, and I faced it, and I set goals for myself, and like losing weight is just a huge thing for a lot of people. You know what I mean? You lose weight, you look better. I still have, you know, a long path to go with that fitness journey, but it gives you empowerment, and it makes you feel better when you're working out and looking better. And ever since I tackled it, it's just been like, okay, and then now I can start working again. But before it was like, forget about my emotions, I need to work. So I did the kind of opposite of that, and that's been huge for me.
Well, just imagine what you're going to be able to accomplish now that you're in a better headspace. and you feel better. Like, consider what you accomplished when you weren't in the right headspace. You know, that's where the talent and the hard work comes through. But now you're in a much better place, and you go, bring it.
Exactly. And it's just like outside of music, like now I'm diversifying, and I'm doing other businesses, and I'm doing other, like, I'm really into like multiple sources of income. So I'm really focused on like having, because when the pandemic hit, it was like music was paying everything, and I was good, and I was never thinking about that. And then when music or pandemic took that away from me and things slowed down, I was like, whoa, like, what am I gonna do right now? Like, this shit got to wrap up, because I'm about to lose everything. And then, you know, I got some of the best people in my life too have helped me out so much. Like, I have a family friend that is my business manager, and he's teaching me about finance, stuff I didn't know. Like, when I lost my mom, a month or two later, I signed a publishing deal, and I had the most money I've ever had in my life. And it was like the worst thing that could have happened, because you're like grieving, but so I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have anybody really guide me what to do with it. But now, having somebody that knows about finance, teaching you about this, teaching you about that, I feel I'm way more responsible. I like, when stuff comes in, I know what to do with it. And I mean, it's part of about growing up too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The older you get, the more responsible you get. But
Hopefully.
even stuff, hopefully. I still fuck up, like,
we all do, man.
Yeah,
we all do.
Yeah.
but it's just like, and also holding myself accountable too. Like, I'm hard on myself, but I'm learning to be less hard on myself, you know. Another thing too that really helped me is I found out what imposter syndrome was. And I didn't,
that one.
I had no idea what it was, because I'd be in LA doing these sessions, going on tour, and it was like, I felt like I didn't deserve it, and I didn't know why. I thought that was just me being humble. And then I heard actually Kevin Love on the Miami Heat. He was saying that he had imposter syndrome. I was like, what's imposter syndrome? And I Googled it, and I was like, whoa, this is exactly what I had. And it was very quickly where I maybe I'm lucky, but I could very quickly turn it off, because I just like looked back on everything I've done, and I'm like, whoa, I've done a lot. You know what I mean? I'm proud to say it. Exactly. I deserve to be. I've never said that before. So like, for me, like, that's another reason why I feel so much better too, is like tackling shit that you're dealing with and being like, finding a solution to it. You know what I mean? So imposter syndrome was crazy. That was very recently too. Like, that was like probably like 3 or 4 months ago where I found out what it was. And like, ever since then, I'd be in rooms with people like that I'm working with that I looked up to, and I kind of felt like small, and I understand why I felt like that, because at the time, like, I was coming up. So, but now it's just like everyone's on an equal level playing field with me. It's like where I'm super talented, and so is he. And like, people may have more than you, but it doesn't mean you don't deserve the success that you have achieved. You know what I mean?
And
like,
it doesn't mean you don't deserve to be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was, and I always felt like my music was good. You know what I mean? Like, I had the confidence, but it was like, I didn't deserve the success. I had it was a weird, like, I had the confidence. I was like, yo, my music's tight. But like, I don't know if I should be like, why did I get here? You know what I mean? So that's another thing. It's just crazy. I'm still learning too. Like, I'm still like every day just trying to figure out some more stuff about life.
Does the imposter syndrome still pop in?
Dude, never. Like, it's this weird clarity I've just got. And I hope it doesn't pop up. But like, I just like figured, like, I just kind of understood it. I really researched it, so I understood it, and I was like, no, I'm absolutely tripping, because I worked really hard, and I got, my thing was like, oh, like, having this is cool, but all my homies have #1 hits, or there are
comparison.
Yeah, it was comparison. Now I don't care about anything. And ever since I stopped comparing, I've been able to get things falling into my lap, because I'm not thinking about what this guy's doing, what this song sounds like. I'm not trying to make music like that. I'm just trying to do whatever for me, and it's been working for like other businesses I'm working with, and it's just like, I'm just like kind of tunnel visioned, and still like, it's not like tunnel vision socially, like I'm I'm outside having
Yeah.
fun. We're seeing all my friends, and I'm definitely being a lot more social. The thing about depression is you isolate. At least for me, I was isolated. I didn't like let people know I wasn't doing good, because people would like, you know, some of my closest friends, they think everything's good when you post on social media. That was the hardest part about using social media too last year. I was like, ugh, what am I supposed to do? Smile like in front of a car right now? Like, I don't want to do that. So that was the main issue I had with it. That's why I had to take a break, because I was like, I don't really want to be posting that I'm sad all the time, because then that's like hard to watch. So I like isolated, and that's not the good move. You got to reach out, and that's kind of what happened at the very end. I was like, yo, I don't know what to do. I need someone to teach me or guide me or help me, and it was great, and a lot of people were super supportive. You know what I mean? It's hard too, because you're worried that you're gonna push them away. But
if you reach out for help,
you realize how many people are ready to help you.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like, you know, I think everybody's willing to help, but you have to be willing to help yourself
first.
Yeah. So like I think that's what made it work, is because I was asking people for help because I wanted to, you know. So a lot of people, you know, if they're in a rut or whatever, they want the easy way out. I was like, whatever it takes, I will do. I just need someone to help me out. And it's not easy. Like the last 2 months, I've been walking and running 20,000 steps a day, boxing for an hour and a half, like going crazy. You don't have to, go that crazy, but like it's not easy to get out of it. But if that's all you want and that's what you need to do, you'll be able to do it, and then you'll feel empowered. You know what I mean? So
feeling empowered is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Because like it really changes your perspective and your outlook on a lot of different things. You feel clarity, you feel motivated, you feel stronger, you feel like the small things don't, like when you're in a bad place, I've noticed sometimes if I'm in a bad place, the smallest of things will just set me off, right? They'll just push me over the edge. It's just like, here's another thing that just went wrong today. But when you're in an empowered state, those small things just bounce right off you.
I got this.
Yeah, because you're like on to the next, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work out, cool. That used to affect me a lot too when things didn't work out, because it was just one of those things where it's like I was gullible, so I believed in kind of like everything, and then you just learn quick, like there's going to be a lot of things that don't work out, but things are going to work out. And then feeling empowered, it's easy to just push that to the side. Okay, boom, next. What's up? You know what I mean? And then you walk around with more confidence and you feel better and people notice it. That's the craziest part. Like even my label, like recently, they're just like, everything is about you is totally different. And it's just because like I'm locked in, like I'm mentally like clear. The clarity is crazy too. The brain fog is gone.
Yeah, the focus.
The brain fog is, I don't know if you guys have had brain fog, but it's like,
I've had it.
You don't wake
when
up.
I had COVID, and then I have it off COVID. Because like if you ever caught COVID, brain fog was one of the things, and that was the first time I really noticeably felt it.
Yeah.
But what's funny is not funny, but what's interesting is after all of that, now if I ever have brain fog, it becomes easier for me to spot it, to be like, my brain is right now just, there's too much information coming through and I can't process all of it, and I just feel very foggy.
Yeah, no, it's a trip, because it feels like you wake up, but you don't wake up fully. You know what I mean? And that was like, I remember that was like so long of like, it's definitely during COVID. It was like so much brain fog, and I didn't even realize what it was. You know what I mean? But the clarity is so nice. You just feel good like all the time. Like, don't get me wrong. There's things that will happen right now that will make me sad, but it's that knowing that I'm gonna get through it. Before, it was when you're in that like dark place and something happens, like you said, you feel like it's the end of the world. But when you're in a better place, you're like, okay, this sucks. I'm gonna feel it. Especially too, I'm reminding myself like, oh, you feel a certain way, feel it, and then get through it. But when you're going through that, it's hard to do the get through it part. You kind of get stuck in a rut. So
yeah, that rut's a hard place to climb out of for a lot of people.
It's hard
because oftentimes they don't see what could be.
Yeah,
they just see what is.
No, it's super hard. But like I was like that. So if it's just like, if you are going through that, like there's so many people that have gotten out of it, you're going to be able to get out of it too. You know what I mean? But it's got to be some, like, I feel like it's got to be some, like, you want it and you are willing to do, because that's like always kind of been my mind state of anything. Like I wanted to be an artist, and that's like one of the hardest things to do. And I have gotten lucky, but I went to LA with no money in my bank account. Like the first time I went to LA, and like this was when my mom was still here. I had no money in my bank account. I took out a credit card with like, it was $2,000 limit, and I was like willing to eat bread for 2 weeks. And like that's like, I'm not telling people to go do that, but like that's how I was. I was like, anything I have to do, I'm gonna do. And that I took that kind of stuff that I did for music, and I put it into fighting this depression. And still, I'm always gonna battle with it. It doesn't just go away magically. Things are gonna happen, and you know what I mean. But it's kind of, you kind of have to be like, I'm doing it every day. I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna try again to do it, because it's easy to kind of give up trying. But if you try literally every day to focus on that before you focus on anything else, before you focus on like this or that, you just focus on battling that, you'll definitely come out of that for sure.
So it's one thing for men in particular to openly talk about these things, right? It's another for a guy who has a public persona as well. Why do you think we as guys struggle so much to have these conversations, to admit that we're not feeling right, that shit's really going downhill for us and we're in a bad place? Why does it take us so long to go and ask for help?
Well, it's just, I mean, it's not a simple answer, but it's like men are supposed to be like that guy, you know? They're supposed to be, it's all together. You're going to take care of, you know, it's like it's the ideology way back in the day through history of life. It's like men take care, they go hunt, they go do this. So like, and then women are more emotional and they deal with the emotions and the kids. And it's like this, you know, that's back in the day. And it's like, if you're a guy and like you're seen crying or whatever, it shows you as a weak man, you know what I mean? But there's something way more like strong than pushing emotions to the side, than showing that another human being that you also have emotions. And I think dealing with them properly is like one of the most manly things you can do. You know what I mean? Like if you can look at how you're feeling and then solve it, you know what I mean? You could take on the world. So I think it's just hard for guys to feel comfortable, you know, telling people like, yo, I'm going through some shit, because it's the world we live in. It's like men are gotta be alpha all the time. Like that stuff is so stupid. Like it's crazy.
Is the music industry conducive of that type of ideology, or do you think it's still very much I
think music industry, like it's a lot more common for a dude to talk about his emotions. You know what I mean? Okay. Like all my favorite artists talk about depression and emotions, and they also talk about partying. It's not, you know what I mean? But
we're complex beings that can enjoy and have
you can do both things. Both things can be true.
Yeah, like you can be happy and sad. That's another thing. Like if somebody says like, oh, like I'm depressed, like that person could still be happy, but it's just like
a great weekend and have a good time. It's just the downtime.
Exactly. And there's a lot, like I don't want to over talk about things. I'm still learning about it too. I'm not a professional at all, but
it's a lived experience. So it matters.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the times when I was the most depressed, there were some of the times where I was the most happy at the same time, but it was overwhelming, the happiness with the depression. But yeah, I think it's good, you know, it's good to talk about your emotions no matter who you are. It doesn't matter. It's just like you should let people know what you're going through, but still have a plan to want to change that and not get into that rut. It's easier said than done, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
But that's an important part of it, is like understanding how you feel, and just like, I need to fix that. I need to change that. And I'm going to do whatever, even if it's like medication or fitness. Like, you can't just, not one thing is going to work for everyone. Like, people who shame medication, it's stupid. It's like, oh, just go to the gym and you'll be, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you know what I mean? So
to each his own.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you're at this point now, an incredible journey, right? Like, you going through the depressive bout, the relationship that you had with your mom, which my condolences, by the way.
Oh, thank you. No, she was great. She was a teacher. So
how so?
She was just a teacher in Ottawa as a professor.
Okay.
And in my public school. But she was funny because she was, I was like, I want to be an artist, and she's like, going to school, and I'm like, okay. And then I dropped out, and she was like, it's done. My baby's never gonna make it.
She was a teacher. You went to the school and she was a teacher?
Yeah, she taught it in Ottawa, at Hopewell Public, and then the University of Ottawa. And she was like my biggest supporter half the time, and then half the time it was like, you better get a real job, because this shit ain't gonna work.
You ever have her as a teacher?
Yeah, like when I was a kid. Yeah, one time
in her class.
Yeah, one time she was a substitute teacher for one of my classes, and it was French class, and I was telling all my friends, like, yo, I know my mom doesn't know how to speak no French. What do you mean? And then she pulled up saying everything. I can't even speak French to this day. And I was just like, you know how to do this? Like,
That's
what?
funny.
Surprise.
Yeah.
But okay, so what's one lesson that you've taken away from your mom?
Oh man, just to keep fighting. Like, they told her 6 months, and she lasted 6 years. You know what I mean? So I think that's the main reason why I was able to do the things I'm doing, because it's like, she did the impossible. So I'm out here trying to do the same thing. And like, I couldn't even imagine what she went through. And like, I don't know if I'd be able to do that, but like, it taught me, like, if somebody says you can't do something, you can go ahead and do. Yeah. Sorry, are you allowed to curse?
Yeah,
you can.
You've already cursed like 5 times.
I know. I should ask, but you can do that, man. Like, I remember that day when they said 6 months, and then she's out here 6 years later. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the main thing I learned from her. It's just like, nothing's impossible.
Do you feel you've reconciled that relationship, or the way it ended with your mom, to like going the 6 years? Because you talked about survival mode. Do you feel like you've finally accepted that, you've moved past the survival mode, you've understood how that all played out and how it affects you?
Yeah, I don't think when you lose a parent, especially at a young age, you learn quick that life is real. You know what I mean? Like, there's no...
And unfair.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's no, like, something happens, you can go back home real quick, figure it out. Yeah. So that security blanket gets ripped off. So that survival mode, I think, will always be there, but it's I feel way more confident that everything is good. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got to survive. So it's not like I'm the only one that thinks about surviving. Like, we all do. We wake up and go, okay, I'm living. But it's definitely gotten way easier where I'm not tripping. Like, one of my biggest fears, and it just came from losing my mom at a young age, was being homeless. And now I don't think I'm ever going to be homeless. You know what I mean? I work too hard to not have a roof over my head. But that's the type of, like, kind of thoughts I would have, and they didn't even make any sense. But it was just like, you don't have a home, and you're afraid of being homeless. So, but I've definitely been a lot better with just being okay with all that. It's been like 6 years too, so it definitely takes a long time, but throughout time it does get better, even though people say that. When I was looking up things, like when my mom passed, and I was like, oh, I don't believe that, but it was 6 years, like every day, every year it gets better, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with time heals all wounds.
Yeah. It's hard to believe it when you're in it, right? Naturally.
Oh yeah.
And it's just
super hard.
It's the same thing. It's like always it's like you can hear it, but when you got to live through it, it's like, okay, well.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, it's like no.
Yeah, but it's funny because I would watch these artists too, and they're all be like, yo, like, if you got a dream, chase it. And I'd always be like, man, like, but then it's like, I'm sitting here talking about kind of stuff that I've been through, and I'm like, yeah, it's true. Like you can get through things and you can be successful in it, and it's just like, and the same thing with those artists I would watch, or athletes or whatever. It's like it does work, and it does get better, and things work out.
What was the moment where you realized you've made you're it? You are now an artist.
I'm him.
I am him. Jones.
Was it a performance? Was it a collab? Was it a deal? Like, what was it? What was that moment?
There was a lot. There was a lot. I guess it was touring. When I would see the people in different cities in Europe and America singing my music, like in small. I remember I did this show in Salt Lake City, and I honestly, being Canadian, I didn't even know what Salt Lake City was. And there was like 1,000 people, and and they were screaming, and I'm like, nah, this is like actually what I dreamed about. You know what I mean? Like, that's, in that moment, I hopped off stage and I was with my friends, like me and my closest friends, like my day one friends. We all went on tour together, and they were doing the videography and all this. And I had my homie from Long Beach, like I was like, just be my DJ. He's like, I don't know how. And I'm like, dude, just press play. Let's go. And it worked out amazing. And that Salt Lake City was like, okay, yep, this is it for sure. This all makes sense.
So that's a high moment. What's the come down from that look like?
Yeah, so it's funny you say that, because that's the hardest part about being an artist, is the extreme highs where you're on stage and there's girls screaming at you, and everyone's loving you, and everyone's doing everything for you too. It's like, oh, what do you need? You need this? You need that? Oh, here's this, here's that. And then you go home, and then there's nothing. And you're just like, this is like a PlayStation and your TV, and like, oh, okay. Like, you can't go on tour forever. You get burnt out. So you have to really find out how to deal with the lows, and that's a part of separating the artist and yourself. So just recently I did this whole like radio run for my last song, and it was cool. I did a lot of cool interviews with people, and it's like, you know, when you're on the road and it's like getting the dinners and all that. And then I came home, and the first thing I did, usually you'd be like, oh, like, what do I do? And it's like, first thing I did is went to the gym and went to boxing, and then I started with my other businesses I'm working with. That gave me something to do other than music, so I could put music aside for 3 or 4 days and focus on other stuff. Because I always used to think, like, artists, you need to be in the studio every single day. I can make a song in an hour, so I can make an album in 10 hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I have so much other time to do other things, and it will allow you to appreciate music more. And it doesn't have to be music. Like, when you are an athlete, you put all your time into working out, but then you still, like, I remember Shaq was like, you know, when I went and I played, and then when I went home, I was a dad. You know what I mean? Like, he separated that stuff. And then there's people like Kobe who just would be in the gym every day, and there's a difference. But to have that balance is so important, and I'm learning that, like, every day, and it's been way better mentally just to have something else, like, to do. And it's just what all, like, successful businessmen do, like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? You think he's in the studio every day? Like, no, he's out here doing bigger things and killing it. You know what I mean? And same with Kanye. He's out there doing the fashion and all that. And same with all of these artists. They like 50 Cent. Oh my God, he did so much. Dude had a video game. Like, I was just thinking about his video game the other day. What rapper has like 3 video games?
Soulja Boy was the first rapper with this.
Yes, Soulja Boy would say that. But even soldiers do. Like, you know what I mean?
A bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Blueface. Like, I just saw an interview with Blue. And he was talking about multiple sources of income. So you get to this age where it's like, music's fun, music's cool, music's making money, but like, and it just allows you to take the highs and lows from music and get rid of the lows and just fill
it with other things. Yeah.
more opportunities.
What other business ventures, if you can talk about them, are you
Yeah,
involved in?
no, so I'm working a bunch of stuff right now that kind of yeah. So I'm doing a little bit of work at this label called Sturdy, which is Tyler Henry's company, and so I'm working with artists, so A&Ring basically, and it's something I love doing, and I'm signing records and helping them get released and all that, and then I'm doing also helping with social media with artists. So I'm doing a lot of that for a lot of dope artists, and then I'm in the fashion world a little bit, working as a creative director for some clothing lines, and it's
Very
just
cool.
it's all encompassing. It's all into that like entrepreneurial, but like still in the industry.
Yeah.
But it's just been fun, and it's it's been great, honestly. Like don't want to get too into it, but
No,
it's
that's cool.
yeah. And then there's other stuff that I'm working on right now that I'm really excited about something coming up that I'm probably going to share in the next week, but don't want to put it out there quite yet.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Are you worried about AI?
Oh my God. Yeah, like I just put out a song and then in a day Juice WRLD singing it. I'm like, come on, man, this is insane. What do you mean? I'm super worried about AI. The reason why I'm worried about AI is because Elon Musk said he's really worried about AI.
Yeah.
I
And
saw
if
that clip.
that dude is worried about AI, like we all should be worried about AI. Like I don't know more than Elon Musk, and neither do any of us.
Yeah.
And
Combined.
if that dude's like,
Combined.
like that dude's a genius. Like I don't, just specifically with technology, like whatever else he says, it's cool. You don't have to agree with him, but with technology, that guy is
Can't argue
that guy.
Can't argue that.
So if he's saying that it's a big threat to the human race,
Yeah.
he's right. I don't
Yeah.
know who else could say it
I
better.
saw the clip of him. I forget who was interviewing him, but they asked him, like, should we be placing regulations on AI? And he's like, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
just unequivocally, yes, you have to. He's
Ask
like,
me that. I don't know. What do you mean? I don't
Yeah.
know this. And then everybody else doesn't know. That dude knows.
That
so
dude knows.
put
Well,
regulations
he
on
was
it.
involved in the company OpenAI when it was a nonprofit before it became what it is today. So he's very intimately also aware of OpenAI, of ChatGPT, and all those different things.
And I can see it. Like, there's cool things about it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
But it seems like the music world, like, it is coming right up against it right now.
honestly, like, I'm not even worried about the music. Like cool. It is like they're gonna find out a way or whatever to make it where you can't take somebody's voice, or I don't know if they can. Actually, I'm talking out my ass because I just don't
Just
know.
assuming that they would.
Yeah.
But music's the least thing I'm worried about, dude. Like how Elon said, the human race.
Yeah, like, things you can't even imagine.
I don't care that Drake's singing my song right now. Like I don't care that you can make a Drake song. That's dope. I'm worried about the other stuff. You know what I mean? So
saying it's taken 10 million jobs or something in the next 5 years. or
yeah, I mean
something.
that's
heard about
crazy.
that.
Hey,
Like,
we don't need any more technology. I think we're straight. Like I don't need someone to like who put my schedule together. You can do it yourself, and we all know you can. And the more we take jobs from people, other than like what we're gonna live in a world where nobody has to work and everybody gets free money, and then it's like that movie like 1948 or whatever, 1982.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
1860. I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, but
like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you can go down this whole rabbit hole
yeah,
of the future.
and I'm not really looking at that rabbit hole because I'm gonna be
because
happy.
You never know what's gonna happen.
You type in one thing on YouTube and then you could get to somewhere deep, dark,
Yeah.
quick. So
very, very quickly.
yeah. So yeah, I'm worried about it, but I'm not really stressing about it because I ain't gonna do shit about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like Elon's got to take that one.
He's gonna figure that out.
Elon's got to
Let's go,
change
Elon,
that
you
one.
got
Give
it.
us the blueprint.
I can't stop AI. I know it. Like I seen the Terminator. I'm gone. First scene. Okay. Like Elon is fucking.
No Skynet.
Arnold.
No.
Yeah.
So okay, what else? What do you got coming up, like on the music side?
So I got I'm trying to release a song every month, and we're on track to do that for the next like 7 to 8 months. We're going to shoot music videos. Everything I wanted to do and I was doing 2 years ago, I'm doing again. So fun songs too. I got like 3 dope summer records coming out, some with some big DJs too I'm really excited about. And I got a lot of records with some cool artists. A lot of cool features, and then we're gonna go on tour and just back to doing everything bigger and better. So
amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you guys? What have you guys got going on?
Ooh, we've never been asked that.
No.
What's going on?
Thank you for asking.
Thank you for asking. Well, season 2, by the time this episode goes out, season 2 of this series will be live on every Air Canada flight.
Nice.
Thanks. Season 1.
I have to fly soon, so I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Sure,
so if you're on, if it's an Air Canada flight, you'll see all of
everybody
season 1.
watch it too.
Yeah, just walk around turning on the
I'm
screens.
like, watch this. This is important.
That's what I did when
about AI.
There was a guy, so I'm like, just touch the screen.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
You should watch this.
Just he's like, is that you? I was like,
Yeah, just title this like AI or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, AI is gonna kill the world.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've got season 2 that's coming out on the platform, but we're right now publishing season 3, and we're hoping that by the summertime we're gonna be we're aiming for some traveling, like going down to LA or New York, and because there's a lot of dope people to talk to who are not always going to be in Toronto. We've been very lucky in that a lot of people come through the city.
Yeah.
But it's not always the case, and you're kind of just sitting around waiting to see, okay, is this person coming? Are they not? And then, when someone comes into the city, can they make time? Right?
Yeah.
And like, as you can attest now, we really try to make sure that we have a real sort of like authentic conversation. We don't want to rush the conversation. We don't want to turn it into like a surface level, like, hey, so you got a new song coming out? Great. Anything else? That's it. Cool. And then that's the end of it. Like, we really want to get to know the people. So.
Yeah, no, I love that about what you guys do and just podcasts in general. Like, it's cool to not get asked the same 4 questions and then bounce. You know what I mean? It's cool to have like,
some substance.
A real conversation.
Because I got, just like all of you guys do this, but you got a bunch of other things you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's cool.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate you asking the question, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. It is still a story that can be challenging at times to share, I imagine, right? So for you to come in, you don't know Matthew, you don't know me, you don't know Poncho in the booth.
You might know Poncho. Everybody knows Poncho.
Everybody knows the
That's just hard, dude. That sounds like a beat tag, dude. Poncho in the booth.
Poncho in the booth. But yeah, you don't know us, and you came in and you're like, let me tell you my story. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thanks. You trust us to have that conversation, and good for you for doing all the stuff you're doing, for working through it the right way, not masking it, like admitting that, you know what, I need to be in a better place for me, and putting in the work to do that, because a lot of guys struggle just to get to the self-awareness level, and then once they're self-aware, they go, all right, well, I've done the hard part, and they don't do anything further. You said, nope, screw it, I'm going to go even further than that, and I respect that, because
thanks, man.
I think a lot of people can take lessons from something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why, like, honestly, like, it is hard stuff to talk about, but when I'm talking about it, I'm thinking the whole time, like, if one person hears this and it changes their life, like, that actually will hit me emotionally harder than talking about it, because that's all I want. I want somebody to, like, I just want to inspire people, you know what I mean? Regardless if it's 1 or 1 million.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The same way as your buddy told you that thing that you really needed to know, and at the time he wasn't thinking that's gonna like be so significant for you when he's saying, or he's saying everything you're doing, do the opposite.
Do the exact opposite.
Right? So someone's still gonna hear something that you're saying, a fan of yours, and be like, that's exactly what I need to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope so. Yeah, and my music has done it.
Yeah.
I've gotten so much incredible messages saying you've helped me with this. So if my story can tell it too. That's just as good.
I believe it.
Yeah.
12. I appreciate you coming through, brother.
Dude, thank you guys for having me. It was
great. It was a lot of fun. Poncho, thank you so much. Everybody, thank
shout
you
out
for
Poncho
listening.
on the beat.
Shout out Poncho. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.